I needed to pay the debt off of ignorance. And that's where the course came in, right? I would have been happy if this took 3 months. I got the signed LOI in 5 weeks.
You signed up on September 7th. I had to go back and find the date.
It's crazy,
And
right? You couldn't believe it. You didn't believe it. You assumed 2 months.
No, yeah. And I'd have been happy with 2 months. I think you would have been too. Yes. But we got 37 days plus or minus. So from you making the economic decision to work with me to your 3 days going through the curriculum, which I saw on the back end of Kajabi, to our weekly meetings, an hour and kind of ad hoc emails. You have a signed letter of intent, and we pushed through almost every boundary of the stated rules and used the Elliott class rules almost 4 or 5 times in the face of uncertainty. Walk me through how you feel about that, the timeline, your perceived value relative to what you paid. You can give me a couple of minutes on that, man. I really appreciate it.
I needed to pay the debt off of ignorance. And that's where the course came in. I consumed it within 24, 48 hours, right? So I could get a baseline that would make sure that our one-on-ones were as productive as possible. So while paying off the debt of ignorance, I also had this big constraint of time. I've got a full-time job. I want to go into this new chapter in my life professionally as quickly as possible. I've already made the personal decision that this is my next play. So I need to learn everything in the quickest amount of time possible. And what you enable me to do is hack my way through the bullshit or the signal from the noise, right? And there's a lot of noise from these so-called gurus to noise in terms of brokers, noise in terms of sellers. Throughout the entire process, the one-on-ones backed by the Kajabi lessons, I think enable me to ask the right questions at the right time and get this moving in record time. To your point, we threw gasoline at it with results. So if you think about the buying process as a funnel with multiple stages, like a sales funnel, every one-on-one, as things progress to the next stage of the funnel, and sometimes it wasn't exactly week over week, we hacked our way through to the next stage. And so I'm very grateful. This was very, this transformed the way I looked at how we could make this happen, but also like doing this in record time, right? I would have been happy if this took 3 months. I got the signed LOI in 5 weeks.
Here's what that means. In absence of a signed LOI, you're working on an an activity with inferior return, like deal sourcing. Now, everybody knows you can't get to deal execution without deal sourcing. But a way higher value add activity is post letter of intent, deal management, evaluation, execution. Because in absence of this, you're emailing 30 brokers with 10,000 people in line, hoping to get one in the city where you want to live and the deal size you want that's not completely fictitious. Now you get to actually say, okay, I'm actually 1 or 2 steps away from closing to optimize this. So now we actually get to continue the learning process. Worst case scenario, right? Best case scenario, in another 3 months, you could be closed with the deal in 4 months, gone from, hey, I want to get off of my day job and into $1 million ownership seat, and have done that for an investment that's probably 0.1%, 0.2% of the purchase price. And then the confidence, I think, that we're able to convey in these weekly calls where, I mean, you've been working for 20, 30 years, right? It's not like you don't understand work, or you're working for CEOs of billion-dollar companies. You help the company go public. You run circles around me in the stuff that you do. But for some of these things, it's like, hey, just trust me, man. Like, this is what's worked. I've tried 10 of the things that don't work as good as this. Let's go through the rebuttals. Let's go through the whatever feelings of uncertainty you have. Does it still feel so bad? And you've been professional enough and intelligent enough to actually leverage the support that you paid for. And now look at where we are.
Yeah, you laid out a process, and I put my trust and faith in you and your process. I'd ask questions about the process, the why, but I followed, right? That was the key for me, right? I would take a ton of notes during our one-on-ones, but you would give me the framework, and I just do it, right? Every step is a bit of a leap of faith, and it keeps on working, right? And you just get this flywheel effect where your confidence increases in the process, and so in the end, you're almost with your eyes closed, just executing on the process, right? It becomes automatic, right? How to approach the broker, how to engage with a broker, how to, in written communication, get moving on the LOI, get a signed LOI. Yeah, it's and all done in the quickest amount of time possible, right? As lean as possible, right? That's what I really appreciated about kind of how we did this.
It's been great. And this is probably what, the third or fourth deal we've discussed together in those 5 weeks?
Yes.
All right, brother. Thank you for the extra time. Thank you for the support you're giving me.
Right, Elliot. Good to see you. Thank you.
Take care, man. Bye-bye.
Cheers.